This show is brought to you by United Healthcare. Got Medicaid? Got Medicare? Get more.
Hello everybody, thanks for watching Project Volunteer. Teresa, I'm so excited. This episode, we are surprising a hero, Miss Virginia Braswell.
I know, I love Virginia. I've known her since I was a little girl, and I love that it's a surprise.
It is. She has done so much for our community. 25 years of service to the Habitat for Humanity, 142 homes she has helped build for families in our community. This is so exciting. Why are we whispering? Because right on the other side of that door over there is Miss Virginia and about 50 of her closest friends. So we're excited to do this. I can't wait for you to see.
Yeah, I can't wait to see her face.
Thank you for watching the show.
Have you ever wondered what nonprofit organizations do, or about all their different volunteering opportunities?
Or what about hearing testimonies from the recipients of their care?
Join us on our journey as we walk in the shoes of a volunteer for a day and find out about some amazing organizations that are literally changing the world.
And along the way, meet some true surprising heroes making a difference in the lives of others as we feature another Project Volunteer. We would like to start this episode by letting you hear the story of Virginia Braswell and her Habitat for Humanity journey. What better way than to hear from Miss Virginia herself?
So Teresa invited her on her Shaped by Faith radio show and asked her to share her history with Habitat. We told her that the cameras were there to record for a video blog.
Welcome to Shaped by Faith. I'm Teresa Rowe, where we shape our bodies and hearts for God's purposes. I have a very special guest in the studio today. I've known her for a long time, since I was a little girl, and I remember you taking me to Bible school in the summer in the back of your station wagon. You piled all the kids in.
We loaded all the neighborhood kids up.
I know. That was a special time. Well, Virginia Braswell here. She is the executive director of Habitat for Humanity. And you told me since 1993, is that correct?
That's right. In fact, I'm the first and only executive director they've had, so I like to tell people I'm the best and the worst.
You are the best. Let's just keep it like that. I would love for our listeners to hear the history of Habitat for Humanity. I know that they are familiar with Habitat for Humanity, but how did it get started?
Well, it's really neat. It started back in 97, and there was a man named Millard Fuller, and he and his wife were millionaires, and he was a young man, and they had 2 children, 2 houses, 2 cars, boats, everything you'd think you'd want. And his wife said she was going to leave him because he did not stay with her. He was a workaholic. And he said, no, let's go on vacation somewhere and we'll work this out. So they left the kids with the grandparents, and they went down to Americus, Georgia, back in the day, and red dirt roads, shacks, outhouses, and he said, people shouldn't have to live like this. And so he got thinking, maybe something like old-fashioned barn raisings we could do. People come together to help each other, and people put in money to build one, and then that money can go toward building another one and another one. So he came up with something, but his idea was very broad. It was not just Habitat for Humanity. It was called, from the beginning, Habitat for Humanity International.
Wow.
And his goal was to eliminate poverty housing around the world.
So I guess they stayed together.
Yes. They stayed together and had a very fruitful life. He ended up giving a lot of money away to universities and colleges and other good organizations, but
that's an amazing story.
Yes,
it really is. How
is.
One person can start something and how it's gone out and impacted. Yes. Well, so how did you become the executive director and the only executive director here?
Well, after he started it down in Americas, I think he actually went to Africa for a while, in Zaire, and worked a while with it, but came back to the United States, and then they started having what we call an affiliate, a branch of Habitat for Humanity. Well, in 1988, this dear little man, retired Baptist missionary, whose name Bill Moore, moved to Owensboro, he and his wife. And he had been somewhere else where there was a Habitat affiliate, and he said, we need one in Owensboro. Well, Habitat is a Christian organization. It is ecumenical, and we don't discriminate in any way whatsoever among homeowners and say you have to be this or you have to be that or anything, or even Christian. But we build out of our Christian love is what we do. Anyway, so he got together, and they met, first of all, at Trinity Episcopal Church with some of the people there, and they brought in pastors from all over Owensboro. And they decided to start an affiliate here. So they started, they got officially documented in the fall of '88, and then they had to get, you had to get committees and boards and land and sponsors and all that. The first house was completed in December 1989.
Oh, wow.
That house, of course, is paid off because we sell our houses for a 20-year, no-interest mortgage. And that house has been paid off a while.
Wow, that's the beginning stages.
Yes.
And now look how it's expanded and grown. Now, how many homes have been built under your leadership?
Well, I think, see, I started in '93.
Okay.
So I think there were about 6 or 7 at that time, and we're getting ready to close on house 141 and 142 within the next few months.
Wow, does it seem like it's been that many, in that many houses?
But it's been a lot of fun with it too. And now how I got involved with it. I was, well, first of all, I was raised in a family that was Christian. And my mom and dad, my dad was a Sunday school teacher, my mom was president of the Women's League. I grew up in youth group and camps, summer camps and that sort of thing, My mom and I would go downtown on the Atlanta bus. We raised in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And we would go down and work at one of the missions. She took me down there, and we learned to do that early on in life. I probably wasn't more than 10 years old or so. Anyway, I was a Girl Scout too, and we were taught to help other people. And we had projects like that. So I grew up with that kind of a background, that's what you did. Well, Gary and I got married in '61 and moved to Owensboro. And our church, which you went to Bible school, I taught Bible school, I taught Sunday school, was in the League of Women Voters, was in the Herb Society, did a lot of volunteer work. And by the way, I looked up the word volunteer to see what it actually meant. And they said it means when someone gives themselves to something with no interest or anything coming back to them. They are willing to donate their time and their service to something they feel is worthwhile.
That's good.
So that was what volunteer is.
And we're called to do that as Christians.
Well, yes. Love your brother and sister and help those, so we do. Let's see, I was going to tell you something else real quick because I know our time goes fast. Okay, so then when the kids all got in school, I have 4 children, and when the youngest one got in school, I talked to a friend of mine who said, well, my husband at Kentucky Wesleyan, they need a secretary over there. So I contacted Walt Beimel and Billy Harrell at Kentucky Wesleyan, and I was the secretary of the Teacher Education Department for 7 years, and they were wonderful to work with. Well, then they both retired. And the new lady, nice as she was, Miss Taylor, was perfectly good, but she wasn't what I wanted, I wasn't what she wanted. She wanted somebody who would sit there in the front and say, oh, they'll be with you in just a minute, and then keep typing. I was one saying, well, how are you? Well, how's your family?
You are very much like that.
So anyway, we parted on good terms, and I asked then Mayor Dave Atkinson, I said, I'm going to do some community service. Do you know of anything? The Lord does this, His wife was president of the Habitat Board that year. It was the 5th year anniversary, and her goal was to have an office and an executive director, neither of which they'd had. They had met at different churches, and they just had kind of wandered around and gotten things. They carried stuff in the trunks of their car. So Malcolm Bryant kindly offered us at a very cheap rate a little office up in the Midtown building, and that's where we started. And I worked there from 9 to noon, Monday through Friday. Well, that's expanded a little bit.
I think so.
But anyway, and they said, well, we can't afford to pay you anything. I said, that's all right. My husband has a good job. We're doing fine. And so I did it just for the joy of it. and got to work with other people, and then it expanded. We moved. We've been to different warehouses. In 2008, we got the Impact 100 grant, which was written for a home for Habitat. And now we have an office and warehouse over on the corner of 17th and Mosley Street.
And I've been in there, and it's very nice.
It is nice. It is nice. I hope we don't outgrow it, but you never know.
And you'll get another building if you do.
That's right.
God will provide.
Yes, yes. And I'm going to show you this. You know my exercise, don't you?
I do.
Hands on your shoulders, hands on your head, hands straight up. And it's called Turn It Over to God.
That's good.
And that's what happens just when you need it, just the right thing. When we got that Impact 100 grant, the building that we had found that we wanted was listed at more than we had.
Right.
Well, 2 of our homeowners, out of the blue, 2 weeks before we were to close, paid off early exactly what we would pay for the building. So when we moved in, we were debt-free. And what's more, our utilities run now, or did then anyway, about what our rent ran. So it's amazing.
Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear more about Habitat for Humanity from Virginia Braswell. So everyone stay tuned for more Shaped by Faith.
Now we will hear a story from a Habitat homeowner that is now a board member.
You will see how much love she has for people and the confidence she builds in them.
So Pam, thank you so much for allowing us to come in your home
Very
today.
welcome.
I understand this home was built by Habitat for Humanity, and Miss Virginia helped out. Why don't you tell us your story?
Yes, she did. My story began when I became a divorcee, and I was raising 3 children. And I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I had 1 son and 2 daughters, and of course there was no place for me to sleep. I slept on the couch. But I didn't complain about that because we had a roof over our head.
Right.
But I decided that you know, I did need a bed at some point in time. I did need my own room, my own space. So I just said a little prayer to my Heavenly Father that He would one day give me a home that I could call mine. Yeah. And so that's where my journey began. 4 years later, there was an article in the paper, in the newspaper, and my mother-in-law and my mother, in the same week, I had talked to both of them, and they told me about this article they saw in the paper called Habitat for Humanity. They gave me the phone number, and I decided to give them a call. So that's where my journey began. Yeah. My Heavenly Father made it possible, and Habitat for Humanity, they brought it to life.
Hey, it may have taken 4 years, but it was worth the wait, right?
It's always on His time.
That's
always
right.
on His time.
That's right. So you got this beautiful home that we're sitting in now. Man, what a blessing that had to be.
It is.
And that is when you met Miss Virginia, right?
That's when I met Miss Virginia. From that day on and to this day, I still love that lady. Yes. She was one of these. She's very energetic. She's a go-getter. And she is very good at making you feel very special. I remember at my dedication, you are allowed to give the homeowner something or not, and she gave me something very, very personal. It's dear to my heart, and I know it came from her heart to me because it belonged to her grandmother. And she made me feel so special as an individual. I didn't realize that I was that special, but I felt like she must have saw something in me to give me something that's special from her, that was that special to her.
She is an angel. Is she not?
She is.
She must have known that
she saw something in me. I don't know what it was at that time, but I think she did.
Awesome. That she took something so personal like that
yes.
and gave it to you,
yes.
knowing that it would make you feel so good
yes.
and give you that confidence.
Yes.
And she is a true angel on earth. Miss Virginia, we was joking earlier before we started rolling and talking. I tell people all the time, when I grow up, I want to be just like Miss Virginia.
And I would love her to be my grandmother right now.
She is such a wonderful woman. What could you tell people about more about her, or just to let them know her personality?
Well, first of all, if she ever asks for something, whether some type of donation for banjos and brunch or whatever it's going to be for, you're not going to be able to say no to her.
No, you can't say no.
That's for one. She just has this knack. She just has this energy. She's always on fire for the Lord, I feel like. Through this organization, which is a Christian organization, she does it full-heartedly for Him.
Yes.
That's her passion.
And you feel that every time you're around her, right?
Yes, she wants people that has low incomes to be able to one day be a homeowner. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened in my case. And like I said, Habitat made that possible, and that's how I first met Miss Virginia.
And not only that, I feel like she not only helps people, but she wants to give them that confidence to grow in the Lord and be able to give back and do things just like you are today.
She's very inspirational. I mean, I feel like there's nothing that I couldn't talk to her about, that I couldn't sit down. I say, Miss Virginia, I got something going on, I got a problem or whatever, and she's very willing to listen. And she's probably always got an answer.
Yeah, she's very, very wonderful woman. And now you are a board member. Tell us about that.
I am. I was contacted over a year ago, and my name had come up. It had come up previously, but nobody had called me. And then when they did, I said, well, I'm going to have to think about that. And when I said I have to think about that, I had to pray about that first. So I prayed about it, and I talked to my children about it. They said, Mom, go for it. So I did, and I'm so glad that I did. And what I do, I'm a board member, and I'm also on the Family Selection Committee. And what I do there is when they get a certain amount of hours, that entitles them then for a home visit, whether it's the first one or the second one. And so that's what I do. I go to the homes of these applicants, and I just kind of interview them. Mm-hmm. I have a questionnaire, and I just kind of go through that with them.
One last question. What would you like to say to Miss Virginia right now? This show is all about honoring her for the person that she is, and you've shed a lot of light on that. What would you like to tell her?
Well, first of all, I'd like to tell her how much I love her, how much I just adore her, how much I love her spirit. I love her zeal for Habitat for Humanity, all that she gives, the 110% that she gives, and that you can tell that she's on fire for the Lord, and I love that about her. And there's one of those things that she always does at the end of our meetings. She's always saying, give it to God.
Yeah, she does. Thank you, Pam, so much for talking with us today.
You're so welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Now we will hear from a good friend of Virginia's, and you will see how she lives her life to serve others.
And how she is always the same beautiful and compassionate leader and friend.
Nelda, I want to thank you so much for inviting me into your home. Thank you very much. Now, we are here super excited about this episode because we are going to give a big old surprise to Miss Virginia Braswell.
Wonderful. That's going to be great.
You've known Miss Virginia for a long time. Tell us your story.
Well, I actually met her when she first came to town, but didn't know her for several years. And then my husband went to work as a volunteer, and it was during that time that I got to know her. And since then, Virginia and I have been very close friends. We do an awful lot together, and I still marvel at what she does.
It's incredible.
It is.
She is 80-something, I believe, years old.
That's right.
And she's been doing this for a long time. And I'm like you, every time I'm around her, I'm like, how does she have so much energy?
It's hard to keep up with. I serve on several different boards and committees over there, and I have for several years. And I watch her, and the way she handles all of the volunteers is absolutely wonderful. Everybody does the job. Everybody is willing to work, and she is willing to commend them for what they've done, and she has recognized many of her volunteers for different things.
So I'm super excited, you know, coming up pretty soon, we're going to surprise Miss Virginia and honor her for all the great things that she does. So tell us, why do you think she should be honored? Why is she worthy of that?
I have watched Virginia for many years now, and she feels everybody is an equal. And if you have any talent or anything that can be done, she'll find a place for you to do it. And when a house has been built and that they turn it over, as they turn it over to the applicant, they're no longer applicant, they're called homeowner.
Right.
And it is one of the most wonderful feelings to be a part of that and to see these people's face. And this is people who have applied and have gotten the job or gotten the house. And then this is also people that wouldn't have had one without Virginia or with the people there. And it is just a wonderful feeling to be a part of Virginia.
I've been at places before and events to where such a diversity of people in the room, but when Miss Virginia walks in, everyone has such respect and love for that woman.
Exactly.
It does not matter where you come from or what's your background or whatever it is. If you know Miss Virginia, you love her, right? Nelda, thank you so very much for your time.
Well, Randy,
and for sharing a little bit about Miss Virginia.
I've enjoyed it very much because she is a person in my mind that deserves everything we could give her.
Absolutely.
She's so wonderful, and I appreciate you and what you're doing, Randy.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you again for your time.
You're welcome.
Now it's time for the big surprise. We set up cameras throughout the day to capture this.
This is Habitat's annual dinner where they recognize new and old board members, volunteers, and homeowners.
They ended the meeting by joining hands in a big circle singing Amazing Grace, and then we sent in our friend Goldie Payne with a singing telegram to set up the surprise.
Telegram! Telegram! I have a singing telegram! 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 I have a singing telegram for Virginia Braswell! Hi, Virginia! Hi! Hi, Virginia! It's your birthday, right?
Not today, but this
Oh, it's not your birthday today? The 29th. Oh, I must have the wrong one. Oh, here it is. While I'm here, we'll just sing anyway. Is that okay?
Yes, indeed.
I love that. Can I borrow your mic?
You may.
I love that. This is so exciting. I didn't know it wasn't your birthday today, so I'll just make up the words and we'll still do the happy birthday song. Is that okay? Great. Happy project volunteer surprise to you for 25 years of servant's heart so true. 142 houses to your credit due. We'll always be in debt to you. For she's a jolly good lady, always yes, never maybe, work, sweat, and tears with no pay. Virginia, this is your day.
You're a mess.
Miss Virginia, what'd you say? I'm what?
You're a mess.
I'm a mess. I'm a mess.
There's your little telegram, my darling.
Thank you.
Well, these folks probably want to know what's going on, and you might be curious yourself, right? So we do this cool TV show called Project Volunteer, right?
Right.
Yeah, you've heard of that, right?
I've heard of that.
And what we've decided to do for this special episode is find somebody, you know, kind of cool and somebody that really kind of dedicates their life to serving others. And we thought we couldn't think of anybody, so we thought, oh, Virginia Braswell is the...
Can't think of anybody else.
You were the first one.
You were the first person on our mind when we decided to do this special episode to honor you. Miss Virginia, I can't tell you how much you have inspired me and my co-host Teresa here, as well as you got a room full of people that love you very much. And I cannot imagine, yes. And I cannot even imagine all the thousands and thousands of lives that you have changed. Okay? So we love you, and we have a few things for you. Teresa?
Okay. All right. First of all, Virginia, I want to thank you for what you do. And a local artist in our community, Alex Jago, did a watercolor painting of a Habitat home. Your name is on there. Do you remember the radio show we did? Yes. That was part of this show. Oh, you funny lady. We had a good time. I told her we were filming the radio show, just special guest, and you dressed up for it.
I did. Yeah.
But we want to thank you. We've got something else for her, right?
We do actually have something else for you, Miss Virginia. I want to bring out a friend of mine, also a board member of ours, Mr. Daniel White from United Healthcare. Daniel, I believe you have something for Miss Virginia, right?
Absolutely. So we're excited to be a part of this. I'm with United Healthcare. When we found out about this tonight, we decided we wanted to come support Habitat for Humanity, the great work y'all do in the community. And so I'm here to present you with a check from United Healthcare for $1,000.
So, Miss Virginia, do you have anything to say?
Thank you.
We love you so much.
Let's see, what can I think of to say? Habitat is lots of fun. Come and join us, everyone.
Everybody give it up one time for Miss Virginia Braswell. This is our Surprising Heroes episode, and she is definitely a hero. Give it up one more time, everyone. Thank you for everything you do, Miss Virginia. You're a great inspiration.
But I didn't build the houses. Dennis builds the houses. Randall Martin builds the houses. You know.
You know what, though? From what I understand from the interviews we've done, they all listen to you. Hey, everybody, do you agree with me? Does everybody listen to Miss Virginia?
Yes.
When she says something, we get it done, right?
Yes.
All right, Goldie, take us out.
All right.
Well, she's a what was the song?
For she's a jolly good lady.
Everybody help us out.
Nobody got a kazoo?
Come on,
my
let's do
goodness.
it.
For she's a jolly good lady. For she's a jolly good lady. For she's a jolly good lady. Which nobody can deny.
Thank you so much for watching Project Volunteer. We've had a blast here today, right, Teresa?
Absolutely. I've had so much fun. And Virginia, I've known you for a really long time.
I know.
And you took me to Bible school
Yes, I
many,
did.
many years ago.
I did.
And I want to thank you for your service to this community. I mean, you're just a go-getter. You just go out there and you're a doer. And you gather groups of people together to help one another out. I love that about you. So thank you.
I enjoy it. I like people, and I like being around them, and I like making them happy and positive too. And a volunteer is somebody who has positive things going for them.
And you certainly do. I tell everybody, when I grow up, I want to be like Miss Virginia. Thanks for your inspiration. Thanks for everything you do for so many people. God bless you, Miss Virginia.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody out there, for watching the show. We hope you go out in your community today and make a difference like Miss Virginia. Have a great day.
Amen.
If you have an idea for our show, a story of inspiration, or would like to nominate a volunteer hero,
Get in on the conversation on our Facebook page or go to projectvolunteer.org. This show is brought to you by United Healthcare. Got Medicaid? Got Medicare? Get more.